The deal was made and Rockefeller delivered. On November 29, 1947, the UN General Assembly approved a resolution recommending the partition of Palestine. The vote shocked the Arab world, which had not foreseen several Latin American countries switching their vote at the last minute. The Jews had traded silence for their new country's security, but they didn't take it lying down. To this day, Israeli leaders have in turn blackmailed the Western employers of Nazi refugees and war criminals, guaranteeing nearly unconditional support for Israel and its policies. That's from the rat lines in the book The Rise of the Fourth Reich, The Secret Societies That Threatened to Take Over America by Jim Marrs. It's a Harper Lux book, and it's a really excellent book. It's a really good read. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. I wanted to talk today about what's going on in Greece and the riots that are happening there. I wanted to put this into some perspective and give all of you some food for thought on the subject. There are a lot of people in this country who are frustrated with the political process and the type of activism that's necessary in order to get to a stage where you can progress beyond. And there are a lot of people who think that it's time for us to take to the streets in a violent manner, like they're doing in Greece. And I certainly can understand the frustration of people who feel that their voice goes unheard and they feel that they don't have any recourse except for this measure. And I completely understand that. I really do. But there are a couple things that you really need to consider here before you decide to go down that path. And one is, consider that Greece has been undergoing this type of rioting for several years. And has it stopped the ruling elites in Greece from going forward with the IMF proposals and clamping down with the austerity? It hasn't yet. It hasn't stopped them. And we're talking Molotov cocktails. We're talking arson. We're talking direct confrontations with police. You know, we're talking massive amounts of people. We're talking real violence. Okay? So, if you decide that now's the time to take the step to violent opposition, you better be prepared to go in fully and completely, and you better be prepared to stick to it for the long fucking haul. Because what happens if you start and it's 2 years down the road and things haven't changed? Are you still going to be as committed as you are right now to carrying out that course of action? Because once you begin, you can't fucking stop. Do you want to know why? Because the minute you do, you're done. You're done. My own personal belief is that there has to be a process that's gone through. And too many people bitch and moan without doing anything. And there are a lot who would go from doing nothing to being violent rather than taking the necessary steps before you even consider being violent in your opposition. And consider what's going on in Greece, because this is exactly the kind of thing that is going to happen to the United States. And I talked about this before. And they are, through the IMF, forcing Greece to undergo massive austerity programs, which is going to eliminate fucking pensions that have already been decimated by the markets and the collapse of the financial system around the world, and take everything in the way of public assistance. Anything from the government that's meant to help the people will be completely and totally cut away. That's the IMF's modus operandi. The same type of thing coming here. And what are they doing with that? They're paying paper off, derivatives, junk, worthless fucking garbage owned by banks. And you know what? I support the Greeks. I really do. And I think it's great that they're committed to doing what they're doing. And I don't live there, so I don't know how this evolved. But certainly we have a history in this country of how these things go. And I think it's important that we embrace every opportunity we have before we launch into this. And you better fucking be prepared if you decide to do it when and if that day comes. You better be prepared, and you better be fucking committed for the long haul. Because everything that is going to be standing in your way is designed, built, bought, and paid for by the motherfucking banks that are going to be the ones getting the fucking money that they rape from you. The exact same thing that's happening in Greece. So you really need to think twice about it before you even go down that path. And you better be ready to stick to it. Because they've been doing it for years over there, and they haven't achieved their goals. Do you think it's going to be any easier over here? Yeah, we have a lot more guns available to us. That's true. And mostly they're throwing Molotov cocktails, improvised devices, that sort of thing. That's still causing a lot of destruction. And maybe it won't take that long here. Maybe it would be an easier go because we're not used to that as a society of massive demonstrations and massive, attacks against the system. But it's dangerous to try to predict how things are going to go. So you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for the long haul. So if you're not, you need to just sit down and rethink your strategy. Go through the motions. Exhaust every option you have. And once every option is exhausted, then you have no recourse at that point. So look at Greece and really consider where we're at, where we're going, and what you need to do in order to achieve the ends that you desire. Me personally, I'm doing everything I can to exhaust the political avenues to me. Everything that's open to me. I'm expressing myself. I'm telling you what I think. I hope a lot of you are doing the same thing. But when push comes to shove down the road, if it does, and they try to rape everything off of me to pay banks back for fucking derivatives and garbage fucking paper that they just mix together with fucking mortgage-backed shit and everything else that's garbage in this whole fucked up financial system that we have. I ain't gonna let them take my shit. I ain't gonna let them rape me of my social services. I ain't gonna let them rape me of my property. But we're a long way from there right now. So just think about it. Thank you. Good night.